The hidden meanings of could have in American English.
You could have told me. If you only know could have as past possibility, you're missing 90% of how Americans actually use it. Americans use it to criticize, to express relief, to show regret, to be sarcastic, and many other things. All phrases you'll hear in this video are very common in daily conversation. It is important as an advanced learner to learn how to use this structure because you'll hear it everywhere. In this lesson, I'm breaking down 100 ways with real examples that will help you master the use of could have so you can start using it like a native speaker. In spoken American English, could have becomes coulda in casual, fast speech. There's a famous expression, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Full form, I could have, I should have, I would have. Meaning, expressing regret about the past while acknowledging it's too late to change anything now. It's often used to dismiss dwelling on past mistakes or missed opportunities. Expressing relief after a close call, 1. That could have been bad. You almost slipped on ice but caught yourself at the last second. Your friend sees this and says, careful, that could have been bad, expressing relief that you didn't actually fall and get hurt. 2. That could have been a disaster. You've been working on a document for an hour and forgot to save it. Suddenly, the power flickers, but your computer doesn't crash. Your coworker notices and says, that could have been a disaster, relieved that you didn't lose all your work. 3. We could have been killed. A driver runs a red light and nearly hits your car. You swerve just in time to avoid the collision. Your passenger gasps and says, we could have been killed. Did you see that? Expressing shock and relief at narrowly avoiding a serious accident. Other common phrases for expressing relief? I could have died. You could have gotten hurt. That could have ended badly. It could have been way worse. Things could have gone south really fast. That could have been the end of us. We could have been in serious trouble. "11. You could have told me your roommate invited friends over without mentioning it to you, and now you're caught in your pajamas when guests arrive. You say to your roommate, you could have told me you were having people over. I'm in my pajamas. Expressing disappointment in a gentle way rather than getting angry. 12. You could have given me a heads up. Your boss scheduled a surprise meeting with important clients without warning you. You weren't prepared for it. Afterwards, you say, you could have given me a heads up about this client visit. I would have prepared, politely indicating you deserved advance notice. 13. You could have let me know. A coworker left work early without telling you, and you ended up having to cover all their phone calls. The next day you tell them, you could have let me know you were leaving early. I had to handle your calls. Expressing frustration diplomatically. Other common phrases for softening criticism/complaints. You could have mentioned that earlier. You could have said something. You could have warned me. We could have discussed this first. You could have been more careful. You could have asked before doing that. You could have tried a little harder. "23. I could have done more. A close friend has passed away, and you're feeling guilty about not visiting them more often in their final months. You tell your therapist, I should have visited him more often. I could have done more. Expressing regret about actions not taken. 24. I could have been somebody. You're talking with a friend about a career opportunity you passed up years ago in New York. They ask if you ever think about it, and you respond, all the time. I could have been somebody in that industry. Expressing regret about an unrealized potential. 25. It could have been perfect. You're looking at your wedding photos, and despite the rain that day, they turned out beautifully. You say wistfully, It could have been perfect if it hadn't rained, imagining the ideal scenario that didn't happen. Other common phrases for expressing wistful regret. We could have had something special. We could have ate at work. Things could have been different. I could have tried harder. We could have been great together. I could have changed things. That could have been my big break. "33. We could have taken the highway. You're stuck in terrible traffic on back roads and running late. Your passenger complains, "We're going to be so late." You admit, "I know. We could have taken the highway, but I thought this would be faster." Acknowledging an alternative route that would have been better. 34. You could have tried it this way. You're watching someone struggle with a task that you know an easier method for. You offer help. You could have tried it this way. It's easier, and demonstrate the better method. They respond, "Oh, that would have saved me so much time," realizing the alternative approach. 35. We could have gone to the other restaurant. You arrive at a restaurant only to find there's a 2-hour wait. Your friend complains, "This wait is ridiculous." You agree, "I know. We could have gone to the other restaurant I suggested," pointing out the alternative that would have avoided this problem. Other common phrases for making suggestions about the past. You could have used a different approach. We could have left earlier. You could have saved money by. We could have avoided all this. You could have asked for help. "41. I could have misunderstood. You show up at what you thought was a 2 p.m. meeting, but your boss says it was scheduled for 3 p.m. Rather than arguing, you respond diplomatically. "I thought the meeting was at 2 p.m., but I could have misunderstood. My apologies." Taking partial responsibility to keep things smooth. 42. That could have been on my end. Meaning, that problem/mistake might have been caused by me. A client tells you they never received the proposal you sent. Instead of insisting you sent it, you say, "That could have been on my end. Let me resend it right now," deflecting potential blame while solving the problem. 43. I could have made a mistake. A colleague points out that your numbers don't match what you sent last week. You respond, "I could have made a mistake. Let me double-check my calculations," admitting the possibility of error without being defensive. Other common phrases for deflecting responsibility/being diplomatic. I could have been wrong about that. That could have been my fault. I could have missed something. I could have gotten my wires crossed. That could have slipped my mind. "49. I could have sworn I locked the door." You arrive home and notice the front door is unlocked, which concerns you. You say to your partner, "That's weird. I could have sworn I locked the door this morning," expressing strong certainty about something despite evidence to the contrary. 50. I could have sworn you said Tuesday. You show up for an appointment only to be told it was yesterday. Confused, you tell the receptionist, "Really? I could have sworn you said Tuesday," insisting on your memory of what was communicated. 51. I could have sworn I saw him there. You're discussing last night's party with a friend who says Dave wasn't there. You respond, "Are you sure? I could have sworn I saw him there by the bar," expressing strong belief that you spotted someone despite being told otherwise. Other common phrases for expressing certainty with sworn. I could have sworn I put it here. I could have sworn I told you. I could have sworn that was the plan. First, let's define these two terms. Sarcasm. Definition: saying the opposite of what you mean to mock, criticize, or express contempt. Key. There's intent to ridicule or be cutting. Example. Your friend spills coffee all over themselves for the third time today. You say, "Nice job," meaning, "You're clumsy. That was stupid." Tone. Mocking, critical, sometimes mean. Irony. Definition. When reality is the opposite of what's expected or what seems appropriate. Key. It's about unexpected outcomes, not intent to mock. Example. A fire station burns down. How ironic! It's unexpected. The place meant to fight fires caught fire. Tone. Observational, pointing out the unexpected. 55. Could have fooled me. Your friend claims they're not mad at all about something, but they've been giving you the silent treatment for 20 minutes. You respond sarcastically. Could have fooled me. You haven't said a word in 20 minutes, indicating you clearly don't believe their claim. 56. Well, you could have tried. Your teenager claims they cleaned their room, but when you look in, it's still a complete mess. You respond sarcastically. Well, you could have tried, making it clear their effort was insufficient. 57. That could have gone better. You just gave a disastrous presentation where the client walked out halfway through. As you're leaving the room, you say dryly, "Well, that could have gone better," using massive understatement as your colleague responds, "You think? The client walked out." Other common phrases for expressing sarcasm/irony. You could have been nicer. You were quite rude. Your friend was harsh and snapped at a waiter for something that wasn't their fault. You call them out. You could have been nicer to our server, pointing out they were actually quite rude, not just not nice. Could have been more obvious. It was already very obvious. You show up to work with your arm in a bright blue cast. After sitting through a whole meeting, your colleague finally asks, "Hey, what happened to your arm?" You, sarcastically, "Could have been more obvious. I've had this cast on all morning." You're pointing out that your injury was impossible to miss, and they should have noticed it immediately. $60. It could have been worse. Your friend was in a minor car accident and their car needs $1,000 in repairs. You console them. That's tough, but it could have been worse. At least you weren't hurt, helping them see the positive side of a bad situation. 61. Things could have turned out worse. A friend just got laid off but received 3 months severance pay. You sympathize. "I'm sorry you got laid off. At least they gave you 3 months severance. Things could have turned out worse," pointing out it's not the worst possible outcome. 62. We could have lost everything. Your neighbor had a small kitchen fire that was quickly extinguished with a fire extinguisher. They say, "Thank God you had a fire extinguisher." You respond, "I know. We could have lost everything if it had spread," expressing relief at avoiding total disaster. Other common phrases for expressing consolation/silver linen. At least you could have been hurt. Could have been a total loss. You could have failed completely. $66. Couldn't have said it better myself. A colleague perfectly articulates an opinion you've been trying to express. They say, "I think we need to prioritize quality over speed." You enthusiastically agree. "Couldn't have said it better myself. That's exactly what I've been thinking," showing complete alignment. 67. Couldn't have put it better. A friend explains a complex political issue in a clear, concise way. After listening, you respond, "Couldn't have put it better." That's the perfect way to describe it, acknowledging their excellent explanation. 68. Couldn't have agreed more. A coworker shares an opinion you strongly hold. "We really need better communication between departments." You respond emphatically, "Couldn't have agreed more. It's been a problem for months," expressing total agreement. Other common phrases for expressing strong agreement. Couldn't have done it better. Couldn't have asked for better. Couldn't have timed it better. Couldn't have happened to a nicer person. 73. I could have cried. Your coworker surprised you with a farewell party on your last day. You tell a friend, when they surprised me with the farewell party, I could have cried. That's so sweet. Exaggerating emotion to show how touched you were. 74. I could have screamed. An online shopping website crashed right as you were checking out with items in your cart. You complained to a friend. The website crashed right as I was checking out. I could have screamed. That happened to me last week. Expressing intense frustration. 75. I could have fainted. Your raffle number was called and you won a car. You excitedly tell your friend, they called my number for the raffle. I won a car. I could have fainted if that happened to me, exaggerating your shocked reaction. Other common phrases for expressing exaggeration for effect. I could have died laughing. I could have died of embarrassment. I could have killed him. 79. That could have been anyone. Police are showing you a blurry security camera image and asking if you recognize the person. You respond, do you recognize this person? It's too blurry. That could have been anyone, indicating the image is too unclear to identify. 80. It could have happened to anybody. A colleague is beating themselves up about accidentally sending an email to the wrong person. You console them. I can't believe I sent the email to the wrong person. Don't beat yourself up. It could have happened to anybody, reassuring them it's a common mistake. 81. She could have been anywhere. A detective is investigating someone's whereabouts at 9 p.m. They ask a friend, where was she at 9 p.m.? The friend responds, I don't know. She could have been anywhere. Work, home, the gym, indicating multiple possibilities. Other common phrases for expressing speculation/possibility. He could have said anything. That could have meant several things. It could have been a number of reasons. '85. You could have gotten fired. Your friend tells you they argued with the CEO in front of the entire company. You respond in shock. You argued with the CEO in front of everyone? I know it was stupid. I could have gotten fired. Acknowledging the serious potential consequence. 86. We could have been sued. Your company lawyer reminds you about an important contract that was signed. They say, good thing you had that contract signed. You agree. I know. We could have been sued without it. Recognizing the legal risk that was avoided. 87. That could have cost us the contract. During a client presentation, your slides crashed, but you had a backup plan. Your boss compliments you afterwards. Nice save when the slides crashed. Thanks. That could have cost us the contract if I hadn't had a backup. Acknowledging the high stakes. Other common phrases for expressing hypothetical consequences. You could have ruined everything. We could have lost our jobs. That could have damaged our reputation. '91. I could have used your help. Moving day was exhausting, and you had to move a heavy couch by yourself. Your friend asks how it went, and you respond, exhausting. I could have used your help with that couch, indicating their assistance would have been welcome. 92. You could have at least called. Your friend completely forgot about dinner plans and left you waiting at the restaurant for an hour. When they finally contact you, you say, I waited at the restaurant for an hour. I'm so sorry I forgot. You're right. I could have at least called. Emphasizing the minimum courtesy expected. 93. We could have stayed longer. You left a party early, but it continued getting more fun after you departed. Your partner says regretfully, that party was just getting fun when we left. I know. We could have stayed longer. Wishing you'd made a different choice. 94. It could have waited until tomorrow. Your roommate woke you up at 3 a.m. to discuss paying bills, which wasn't urgent. Frustrated, you say, "Sorry I woke you up about the bills. It could have waited until tomorrow. I have to be up in 3 hours," pointing out the poor timing. 95. You could have just told the truth. Your teenager got caught in an unnecessary lie about where they were, even though they weren't doing anything wrong. You ask, "Why did you lie about where you were? You could have just told the truth. You weren't doing anything wrong." Emphasizing honesty would have been simpler. 96. I could have guessed that. Your friend tells you the popular restaurant was packed on Saturday night. You respond, "The restaurant was packed on Saturday night. I could have guessed that. It's always busy on weekends," indicating the outcome was entirely predictable. 97. That could have taken forever. Your tech support person fixed your computer issue remarkably quickly. You thank them. "Thanks for fixing my computer so fast." "No problem. That could have taken forever if it was a hardware issue." Expressing relief at the quick resolution. 98. We could have been friends. You run into an old classmate and reflect on missed opportunities. You say, "I wish we'd talked more in college." "Me too. We could have been friends if we weren't so shy." Imagining an alternate relationship that didn't develop. 99. You could have handled that better. Your manager asked for honest feedback about a difficult conversation they had. They ask, "How did I do in that difficult conversation?" You respond honestly. You could have handled that better. You got a bit defensive, offering constructive criticism. 100. I could have stayed there forever. A friend asks about your Hawaii vacation. You respond enthusiastically. "Incredible. The beach was perfect. I could have stayed there forever," expressing how wonderful the experience was through exaggeration.